Here's the thing about the Lions offense, they got to play good. They simply have to play good. The Detroit Lions offense has to play good this time around. If you go back and you look at some of the games before, I have a stat. This is from Al Karsten, the football guy, Al, and it's a comparison between the Lions season drive results in opponent territory and Lions week through 4 through 10 when they were just buzzing, and it compares weeks 1 through 3 where they were having trouble and weeks 11 through 12 in the opponent territory. So if you look up at the top, Lions season drive results in opponent territory: 52.6 TD percentage, or 52.6, scoring percentage of 77.6. Weeks 4 through 10, Detroit was had a 65.9% TD percentage, 88.6 scoring percentage. Lions weeks 1 through 3 and 11 through 12 drive results in opponent territory: 34.3 TD percentage, 62.5 scoring percentage. So you could see there that they're having issues. Like if you go back to the last game against the Chicago Bears, one of the things that they struggled with was competing in the end zone, getting it done in the end zone. When we talk about what the Detroit Lions are good at, it's you can't leave points on the field. You left it up to the Bears, and the Bears they're a talented team. They've been keeping at par with other teams. So anytime you don't convert in the red zone and you let these teams hang around, that's where you're going to have trouble. That's where you're going to have a little bit of issues, and it's going to be important for the Detroit Lions to capitalize in the red zone. Now let's look at some. Let's look at the Lions rush offense versus the Packers D. You can see that in a lot of places here, the Detroit Lions have the advantage. You rushing versus the light box, Detroit second. The Green Bay Packers are 18th. Obviously, we don't have to worry about quarterback scrambles. Detroit is 32nd. Green Bay's 15th. And then you look at rushing in the red zone. Detroit's number 4. Green Bay is number 25. Detroit's offense versus design runs. Detroit's 4th. The Green Bay Packers are 12th. Running inside the tackles. Detroit's 4th. Green Bay's 12th. Playing under center. Rushing under center. Detroit's 5th. The Green Bay Packers are, it looks like, 13th. So as you can see, there's a lot of areas where Detroit can exploit this Green Bay Packers team. Obviously, you look at it and you go, okay, how is the Detroit Lions offense do per quarter? This is kind of like the creme de la creme of what the Detroit Lions offense has been. So if you look at per quarter on what they've been doing, the first quarter they score 4 points per quarter in the first quarter. That's 17th in the NFL. And then you go to the second quarter, they're 14.5, which is first. They come out in the third quarter, 8.8. That's first in the NFL. Then they go into the fourth quarter, which is the money time, and they score 4.1, which a lot of times, if you kind of equate this out, there's a lot of games where they're leading by a huge margin, and so that kind of equals out. So when you see the stats, the fourth quarter is kind of like where the Detroit Lions are winning, and they're just trying to salt it away. But here's the thing. Detroit should have an advantage on the rushing end. Obviously, we showed that. But if you look at the pass, Detroit's pass versus the Green Bay Packers defense, passing versus blitz, Detroit's number 2 in the NFL. Green Bay is number 30th, so that's a huge margin right there. Detroit's short passing is number 2 in the NFL. Green Bay's short passing defense is number 16. Intermediate passing, Green Bay is 18th in that. Detroit is 5th. Passing versus no pressure, Detroit's 2nd. Green Bay is 9th. Long passing, Detroit's number 1, and Green Bay is 5th. And then you look at deep passing, Detroit's 12th, and the Green Bay Packers are 2nd. So you're going to see a lot of you're going to see a lot of over the middle kind of quick routes. I think this is what's going to benefit Detroit, in my opinion, because when you talk about the Packers linebackers, they've been brutal. You look at the Isaiah McDuffie and Quay Walker particularly struggle, each allowing 7 receptions to the nearest defender. The Packers were noticeably missing Edgerrin Cooper, who is out in this game as well in the contest, who has been targeted at the least lowest rate among Packers linebackers this season. Cooper has just allowed 6 receptions at 11 targets this season for 74 yards. Matchup, the Lions completed 9 of 10 passes for 78 yards against the Packers, with a linebacker as the nearest defender in week 9. So you look at that there is obviously advantages for Detroit to take advantage of the Green Bay Packers. If they're able to do that, they're going to be moving the ball. That's the key part right here. You've got to be able to move the ball against this Green Bay Packers team, because the Green Bay Packers, they're going to be trying to run it on you. And we'll talk about that with the defense, but all in all, you got to keep them at bay. And the passing game right here for Detroit, it's way better than you can imagine. And then you got the passing versus blitz. Obviously, Detroit's second. Green Bay is 30th. Detroit's second in short passing. Green Bay 16th. Rushing versus a light box. Quarterback. Well, that's a little bit. That's a pass. Wait, we got that wrong. And then you look at same thing. But you look at key advantages right here. There's literally Detroit has the offensive advantage. If you look at the offensive versus defensive advantage, Detroit's overall passing efficiency is second. Green Bay is 8th. Their rushing efficiency on defense is 13th. Detroit's is 5th. Pressure rate, Detroit's is 18th. The Green Bay Packers is 25th. And then you look at the only thing that is really benefiting the Green Bay Packers is the pressure rate on their offense. Our passing efficiency, Detroit's number 2. Current, and then the rushing is basically tied. So that'll be interesting. But you look at that, and there's a lot of reasons for Detroit to be able to move the ball. I think a lot of people are expecting Detroit's got to play better offensively. Obviously, the last couple games, I feel like they left a lot of points on the board. If you go back and look, the Indianapolis game, felt they left points on the board. Chicago, obviously, they left points on the board. They got to the red zone a couple times and they kicked the field goal, turned over the ball. But that's going to happen, and it just can't happen today. I mean, tomorrow. Because you'll begin this podcast tomorrow, today, whatever. Anyways, they just can't have it happen tomorrow because we're recording this podcast on a Wednesday. So I have to always keep it in comparison with the people that are going to be listening to the podcast. But you just can't let them control you. I think that's the major thing. Like, if you look at the Packers in their defense, they struggle against the pass. Obviously, Edgerrin Cooper being out for the Packers is going to be huge because Quay Walker and Isaiah McDuffie, they have shown to be a liability in coverage. If you can get Sam Laporta or Jahmyr Gibbs or Dave Montgomery on them, hope to God you get Amon-Ra St. Brown on them. Then it could be a huge thing. But it'll be interesting to see what happens on that side of the equation because I think Detroit has the advantage there, and we'll see what happens from there. So you've seen that obviously the pass offense has been an issue. And then if you look at the red zone offense versus their red zone defense, Detroit is 6th. The Packers are 20th. So this is a chance for you to take advantage of the Packers' red zone defense. This is a major portion of the game. I feel like the Lions have struggled at points with converting in the red zone, which has led them to be in a lot of games that they should have blown out, especially last week. Last week was kind of a dud. When we talk about last week for the Detroit Lions, they were in the red zone. Like I said, they were in the red zone a couple times. Interception. They had a go for field goals. And the way this game could potentially work out is you are going to have to play good offense. You're going to have to score some touchdowns. And I expect Detroit from, week 4 when they played Seattle and compared to like last week, they looked like it was the Buccaneers game all over again. Like the Lions really beat themselves. And every time the Lions could play a close game, like Houston, they beat themselves. Even though they won the game, they were beating themselves with the turnovers and everything like that. Buccaneers, they couldn't convert in the red zone, beat themselves. The Rams game, same thing. Chicago couldn't convert in the red zone. Those are things that are going to haunt you. But this team is so good, and they're able to get away from it that at some point, it's not going to cost you as much as, But tomorrow, it could be a lot different. Obviously, Josh Jacobs is having a great year for the Green Bay Packers. And I was very intrigued by what I've seen from last time. So last time Gibbs and Montgomery only had 124 yards rushing. I expect them to have a lot more this time around. Obviously, when you talk about Gibbs and Montgomery, they did a damn good job, but I expect them to be a way better this time around. Josh Jacobs outgained him last time, so that's going to be very interesting. Hopefully, Detroit can kind of put it together and run the ball because they're going to be at home. It's a chance for them to run on even ground. They know what kind of ground they're on, so it's not like that rain-soaked Lambeau Field. So that's good for Detroit, but Green Bay is going to come in here and they're going to try to stop the run. And I believe I was reading or I listened to a little snippet of a podcast from Glover Quinn, and he had Ahmad Green on. Ahmad Green, Ahmad Green, the old Packers running back, and he said that the Green Bay Packers have to stop Jahmyr Gibbs and Dave Montgomery if they want any chance of winning. And I agree, because if this team gets their rush game going, they're going to score some points, and it's going to be up to Jordan Love to score some points too. I could see, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I could see a very, very high scoring game tomorrow. I could see a very high scoring game against the Green Bay Packers because this has all the making.